I'm tearing up again. God. Come on, Matt. Stop being a pussy. Come on, be a man. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. But I want to talk about two things today. The first and foremost is I want us to expand a little bit more on the reparations video, because it was only like 4.5 minutes or something. And then I want to talk about the Palestinian marches. So let's start off with the reparations, because I've got a new title for David Lammy. He is David Arch-Racist Lammy. Or is it David Archbishop of Racism Lammy? I can't make up my mind. I feel like they're calling him Arch-Racist Bishop of whatever. David Arch-Racist Bishop stroke number 1. Not even 60 seconds in. David Archbishop of Racist Lammy would give him too much credit. But what do I know? And I say that, of course, in conjunction to how he called all of us, was it morons or idiots? The ones who voted Brexit and made a complete enemy of Donald Trump. You know, one of the very things that you shouldn't really be doing as foreign secretary. Well, he may be a secretary, but his policies are all completely foreign to me. But David Racist Lammy decided he wanted to say to Keir the traitor Starmer that since he's from a Caribbean country, that he has a duty to pay these reparations. No! Keir the traitor Starmer does not have an obligation to do that. And if it turns out to be true, apparently we in the 19th century already paid like, was it 3 billion, 30 billion, something like that, in reparations, as far as slave trade is concerned. So no, David Racist Lammy, I think we'll keep what little taxpayer money we've got and not piss it up the wall for your woke DEI bollocks. Thank you very much. We have no obligation to be telling anyone that we should be making payments. If anything, we've done more as far as the slave trade's concerned and abolishing it than any other country. But all this bullshit is, it's another attempt to make British people feel ashamed of who they are. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm quite proud to be British, thank you. And nothing is going to make me change that. I'm proud to be British. The only thing I'm not proud of is the traitor we have in power. But by all means, David Racist Lammy, if you don't like our country, you can fuck off back to wherever you came from. And hell, even if you were born here, we still don't want you. You and the other left-wing NPC politicians keep preaching on about the far right and racism, yet you treacherous snakes are more than willing to stab us in the back the first chance you get. You're not willing to appreciate the accomplishments white people have done. And let me remind you, David Racist Lammy, this is a majority white country, or at least it was. It may still be, for all I know, but for how much longer, I cannot tell you. Because the cold bitter truth is, there is a great white replacement going on, but the media and the government will call me and other people tinfoil hats or conspiracy theorists. More like conspiracy realists. The fact we have such a bumbling, incompetent, racist fool as our foreign secretary, it just blows the mind, to be honest. Every time I think about the fact that he is our foreign secretary, I almost feel like my 2 remaining brain cells are strapping on bomb vests and ready to blow themselves up. And I wouldn't be surprised if they started shouting in my head, Alan Snack Bar. Anyway, the fact he is our foreign secretary is insanity at its finest. DEI clearly hasn't worked. And yet here we are again, nearly getting run over at this rate, but here we are again with David Racist Lammy, who is basically going out of his way to destroy our country and destroy our relationships. It amazes me that this man hasn't been fired for the damage he's done to our relationships with foreign countries. But you have the gall, David Racist Lammy, to want reparations for the slave trade. The only reparations I think we should be making right now is we should be making up to the British public by taking out the trash, namely you, David Lammy, throw you out on your ass onto the street where you rightfully fucking belong. Because you have no place as a foreign secretary. You're about as fit for the role of foreign secretary as I am as a fitness instructor. Arms stretched, go down, pick up, scoff. Anyway, the point is, he is not fit for purpose, and he should not be in that position. So, I hope someone in that party has got a brain and will help take out the trash, metaphorically speaking, of course, because I don't want to see violent attacks on people. But there is a man who's been let into the UK who has an AK-47 tattoo on his fucking face that is calling for the death of Nigel Farage and wants to marry his sister. This alone should tell you how much of a crap job that Keir the traitor Starmer is doing protecting our borders. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the reparations issue, which I have, and now I'm going to talk about the Palestine marches, because I've covered this many bloody times, and frankly I'm getting sick of it. But I will mention it here regardless, because it needs to be said. It needs to be done. A civic duty. Something which Keir the traitor Starmer knows nothing about. But I will start off with this simple thing first. Last time I checked, in that law, isn't there something that says it's illegal to support prescribed terrorist groups? Now, forgive me if I'm being stupid here, or ignorant, maybe I don't know any better. But last time I checked, Hezbollah and Hamas are prescribed terrorist groups. I'd love for somebody to tell me I'm wrong. Thanks, hoodlum. Anyway, I'd like somebody to prove me wrong. Are they not prescribed terrorist groups? Are they not groups of people who are intolerant of the West, intolerant of any other value other than Islam? Last time I checked, they want a caliphate around the world. In fact, all of these Islamic terror groups want Sharia law across the world. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks. Because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. If common sense had its way, if ordinary people had their way, we'd have these Palestine marches off our streets. Just like that. You know why? Because we wouldn't put up with that shit. We would go in and we'd take out the trash. Because they do not belong on our streets. If you want to support Palestine, go and support Palestine in an Islamic country. We don't want you here. We don't want you preaching your hateful ideology and your hateful politics of how Palestine is a great place, but in reality they want to commit genocide of Jews. Hezbollah and Hamas are a prescribed terrorist group who want to blow people up and shoot people. And of course, at the top of all this, we have Keir the traitor Starmer, who said he would willingly protect the Islamic community. So, Keir the traitor Starmer is being a sectarianist bastard. But that's something the media won't tell you either, because they're too scared to tell us the truth, for fear of being called racist, even though you can't be racist against a religion. But I'm sure Islam will find some way to spin a good yarn. I didn't know they were good at knitting. Anyway, I'm sure they'll find a way to spin a good yarn and try and find some way to imprison people who dare to speak the truth about Islam being a warrior religion, about how they only spread their word through conquering other countries. Iran, for example. Iran used to be very peaceful. And then Islamists infiltrated and basically took over Iran through an uprising. An intifada, is it? I'm trying to remember the word they use. But basically there was an intifada, an uprising, which basically caused Iran to fall to Islamists. Now, I ask you this question. When we have at least 5,000 people who are known Islamists in our country, and that's just back in the 2010s, I reckon it's probably at least 25–50% more of that, and I'm probably lowballing it right now for all I know. But when we have all these terrorists in our country who are intolerant of our society, our culture, our beliefs, of the West in general, do you really think that these people are going to integrate? Or do you think they're going to revert to type and go back to their 5th century death cult ways of conquering our country through an intifada. Place all your bets, please, 3-1 on an intifada. But I digress. But here's the thing that really pisses me off. Tommy Robinson has to fight tooth and nail and jump through God knows how many hoops with the police, with organisers, with people who are providing the stage and the equipment and all that shit. He has to go through so many hoops to be able to get these protests going, including the one that's happening on the 26th of October. How many hoops do the Palestinians have to go through? Do they even organise this with the police? Now, this is obviously speculation, but for all I know, these Palestinians might not even have to go through the police to get their rallies up. Which, if that's the case, really does showcase two-tier policing at its true height, its true potential. Because we've seen many times before how English people celebrating a holiday in Britain, for example St George's Day, can get attacked by the police. They are provoked by the police, violently assaulted by the police. They can have dogs let loose on them, and we're arrested. Yet in most cases, with the Palestine movements, where we have people who are actively calling for the genocide of Jews, there are people spreading the hateful ideology of Islam, who are intolerant of our cultures and our beliefs, why aren't many of them arrested? Now, granted, there are some people that do get arrested. Do you know when that happens? It's when they turn violent. Otherwise, you will not see one riot cop anywhere in those Palestine movements. You will be lucky if you see one. Again, the mainstream media won't tell you this. You will be lucky if you see that shit. However, with any supposed far-right protests, oh, there are hundreds of riot cops in dozens of vans waiting to beat the shit out of us if we even show the slightest signs of overexcitedness. Hell, recently, there's even been someone who is basically against these Islamic protests. There's been someone who has been threatened by the police, and they are just simply holding their signs up of Hamas's terrorist organisation. Yet he's the one being threatened with arrest, not the Palestinians that are going out of their way to incite hatred and violence and advocate for the genocide of Jewish people. And I wonder, when are they going to get arrested? Rather than the police constantly harassing ordinary people who are calling out Hamas for what they are, and ordinary concerned patriots who just want the best for their country and don't want their kids getting stabbed. Because we've already seen that. That's what sparked off the Southport riots. This was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Because people are rightly getting sick and tired of governments refusing to listen to ordinary British people who are fed up with an intolerant religion and these hate marches, because that's what they are, the Palestine hate marches that continually spread this vitriol across our streets. But Keir the traitor Starmer would rather protect them rather than arrest them. That is why I will always call him a sectarianist bastard, because that is indubitably what he is. He is a sectarianist bastard who has no respect for the British people, the elderly, or our wishes. And last time I checked, governments should fear their people, not people fear their governments. And the governments should be serving us, not the other way round. Every single day that goes by, Keir the traitor Starmer should be thankful that there hasn't been a violent revolution. Because I think if we were back in ye olde days, oh, I think they would have stood up ages ago and they would have taken back this country just like that, because they wouldn't put up with this shit. Unfortunately, a lot of people, though, have become compliant, complacent. They've become docile, I would say, because they don't have the balls anymore, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to be able to stand up against a tyrannical government and say, we've had enough, you're not controlling us anymore. But you see these violent attacks by Islamists in these Palestine movements, going after the police in some cases. Yeah, you'll be lucky if you hear them be served any time in court. Like, when's the last time that you heard a Palestinian or a Palestine supporter who attacked the police? When have you seen one of them in court and get sentenced? In contrast, look at the other side. Look at the Southport riots and look at how many people have been arrested, remanded, and then subsequently jailed for shouting at police, growling at dogs, banging on doors. Ask yourselves, how many people have been arrested on that front? I could probably say, well, it's actually on record, there's at least 150 people that were arrested during those riots and given custodial sentences. And it's only now that Farage has forced the Crown Prosecution Service's hands that they are forced to now try and charge those Islamist Manchester police attackers. It's only now they are forced to do this. We all struggle to get just a handful of people arrested, quite rightly, for attacking the police. Yet, on our side, you will see people who are angry, but are they attacking the police? In most cases, the answer is no. And let me be absolutely clear, I do not advocate for anybody to attack the police, anybody to set migrant hotels on fire, or to set police stations or police vans on fire. Let me be clear on that shit. But you have to understand, there has to be balance. There is no justice here. The only justice I see with all this is injustice. How is it the 150 people can receive custodial sentences after Keir the traitor Starmer releases all the killers and rapists onto the streets, which, oh, by coincidence, they start reoffending, just so he can make room for his political opponents? How is it they say, oh, our prison service is full, but then the moment that they start bringing in political prisoners, people who were a part of the Southport riots, oh, we've got plenty of room, let's get that meat grinder going, let's crank, turn the handle, turn the crank, get them in, innocent people or not so innocent, but normal people go in and convicts come out the other side. But we can't be bothered to do that with genuine threats to our country, like these Muslim Manchester police attackers. Beggars belief, isn't it? Likewise for all the people in those Palestine movements who attacked the police. Why haven't they been put in court? Why haven't they been given custodial sentences yet? Why have they not been put through the system? Oh, that's right, Keir the traitor Starmer's protecting them. I already said it. Sorry guys, this sun is blinding me something awful. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, the police, it should not be apparent whose side they're on. We should be able to look at the police and say, well, I hope they do their job and they keep the peace and they are, what's the term I'm using for? They have a police presence, that's it. Like they had in the old days, though unfortunately, because of DEI and wokery and all that nonsense, we see so many women and people who wouldn't fit the grade for a police officer these days that effectively we have a lot of cowards in our force. If we had a robust force like we did back in the day, these Islamists, these Palestinians, they'd be off our streets just like that, because they wouldn't tolerate this. They wouldn't tolerate people inciting violence and hatred in our country when they are guests in our country in most cases. If they don't want to respect our culture, they can fuck off on the next plane back to wherever they came from. We don't want these intolerant people. We don't want these illegal immigrants coming in who effectively want to violate our country, who effectively want to threaten our country, and want to destroy our way of life, all in the name of Islam and Alan's snack bar. If Keir the traitor Starmer had any integrity, which we all know he doesn't, but let's just go with it anyway, but if Keir the traitor Starmer had any integrity, he would get these hate preachers off the streets. Because let me tell you, they'd do the same thing if it was Christian preachers. Hell, they do it all the time. They go up to people who are silently praying in some cases, not even causing any trouble or the breach of the peace, and they're getting harassed and arrested in some cases by the police. And I ask you, where's the justification in that? But you'll allow Islamists to spread the word of the Quran, which a lot of their verses tell them that they should not be friends with non-Islamic believers, basically, and that you should behead them wherever they are, or that any other religion other than Islam is unacceptable. But again, the media won't tell you that, because obviously that would destroy their current narrative. The globalist Marxist agenda, and yet they are blind to radical Islam. That's the cold, bitter truth on it. Nobody wants to hear the truth. Nobody wants to believe that Islam is trying to take over the United Kingdom. Thank you. God, nearly went head over heels getting off that one. Anyway, the fact of the matter is that I'm actually going to put this in two different scenarios for you to help people truly understand. Even Keir the traitor Starmer, no matter how dense his head is. Let's say there was a group of Christian people out in the streets calling for the death of gay people and calling for the death of homosexuals. Would I let them go on their way, or would I seek to have them arrested? I'd want them arrested. You know why? Inciting hatred, inciting violence against homosexuals. Now, why don't we take Islam, for example, where in Sharia law-based countries, Islam sees it as illegal to have a homosexual relationship. Now, anybody caught in a homosexual relationship under Sharia law, the punishment for that is death by stoning or by being chucked off a high-story building. Now, if there were Islamists going out of their way to preach for the death of homosexuals, just like I've put the scenario out for Christians, would I let them walk on, or would I want them arrested? I would want them arrested. Again, for the same fucking reason, inciting hatred and violence against homosexuals. It's really not that hard to understand. This isn't a matter of, oh, white person racist, oh, white person attack Islam, so Islamophobia. No! Islam has no special treatment. Likewise, anybody under the Plasticine movement, they don't get special privileges either. I don't go sitting out there asking for fucking privileges and special treatment because I'm autistic. I might say to people, I need you to understand I might need things explained to me in a simpler context, but I don't go out of my way saying, well, you can't punish me because I'm autistic. No! I don't do that shit. But what we see in our current climate is Islamists are getting away, in some cases, with blue murder. They could literally go out of their way and accidentally kill a child, like one person did, with a van, drag the child like 100 fucking feet. But they said that they're not guilty because they didn't realise that it was a child under there. They thought it was a traffic cone. Yeah, bullshit on that one. But the judge let him off. He killed a child. Yeah, if a white person did that to a Muslim girl, he would be sent to prison, just like that, because it would be seen as murder. They wouldn't care if it was manslaughter, if it was a genuine mistake and an accident. They'd send him down for fucking murder. Oh, I feel so much more comfortable now. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make with all this is that you can't curry favour with one side. You cannot have two sides and you decide you want to take a side. You can't do that as the police. Your job is to be apolitical and keep the peace and restore order as quickly as possible. Call me old-fashioned, if you will. But last time I checked, the police need to be policing, enforcing the law without curry nor favour. I could do with a comma, actually. Anyway, they need to do this without curry or favour. They can't take sides. We should be able to go wherever we want to go, whether it's off down to the shops, all together on a march, or wherever. We should be able to go about our business and not think about this mentality of, ooh, I better not do that, because otherwise they come down on us much harder than they do them. Or, well, I wonder what side they're going to pick. No, we should have the mindset of, well, I hope these people do their job impartially. Do their job without political bullshit getting in the way. But we see time and time again, they assault people on the far right for celebrating or getting overexcited. They'll provoke us. They'll come after us with their fucking, not the wooden spoon, but batons at the ready to charge in and fucking beat the shit out of us if we even step a hair out of line. But they won't dare do the same with the Islamists. You'd be lucky if you see someone get backhanded, let alone batoned. But again, the mainstream media won't tell you that. As far as Islamists are concerned, as far as pro-Palestine is concerned, they can do no evil. Keir the traitor Starmer literally feels like the absolute definition of Islam: see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. That's the way I look at it. But of course, Keir the traitor Starmer doesn't know any better. He's a useful idiot to Islam. Ironically, he is a tool in their cause. And it's a very unjust cause, let me tell you. But he would rather protect the people who are a very threat to this kingdom. Like, if we have our own little castle, he's literally lowering the fucking drawbridge for them to come and invade us. Hell, we might as well open the door to the keep as well while we're at it. Because he's taken sides. The police have taken a side, when their job is to sit in the middle. Ironically, term my sister used, which was sit on the fence. But I don't want to talk about my sister. I said my final message about her was just a general mention. But the bottom line is, these Islamists are getting away with far more than anything the so-called far right could even dream of doing, let alone actually do. That's the truth on the matter. The police would rather go after people who are on their keyboards, typing up messages to Facebook or X. They would rather arrest people for their opinions on the internet, rather than do their job and, oh, I don't know, stop real crime, go after burglars, stop robberies, apprehend criminals, stop terrorists if they have got the weapons or the means to do it. Like, there are so many other duties that would put them above the rank and file, but they would rather go after people on the internet. Like, literally, someone goes around shooting people, the police sleep. Somebody posts a comment on Facebook that could cause offence. Real shit. That's the meme I think of right now. And it disgusts me, quite frankly. Because as I said, my mentality as far as the police are concerned should be, I see them as people who will protect us. Who will always hope to protect and serve the British public. Instead of, they're the right hand of the Gestapo. They're the right hand of the establishment. Ready to crack down on people who dissent against Keir the traitor Starmer. Any of our protests, well, the last two that went by, that of Tommy Robinson's, they expected it to all kick off. The media was out there saying that we were about to get violent with the police and all that shit. Nothing even happened. You know why? The police, credit to them, for once, didn't get involved. Every single time the police have gotten involved in any of our rallies, that's when things get at loggerheads. Because they provoke us, they attack us, and then the violence occurs. And then the media have the audacity to say, far-right thugs attack the police. When in reality, the police attack us. But that won't let the media won't let the truth get in the way of a good hit piece to libelously slander the ordinary British public. They won't dare put a hit piece like that out for the radical Islamists of Palestine and the Palestine sympathising cunts who are sympathising with terrorist groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. That's the way I look at it. And as I've said before, and you can even say it with me, I am not going to sugarcoat a motherfucking thing. I am not going to mince my words. I will say it exactly how it is, and I will do my best not to bullshit you. You won't ever see that shit from the mainstream media or Keir the traitor Starmer. You'll be lucky if Keir the traitor Starmer apologises for putting his shoes on the wrong way, let alone apologise for the monumental fuck-up he has been for this country. But the police and the government need to step up and do their jobs and stop these hate marches, because that's what they are, from the pro-Palestine movement, who seek to cause nothing but hatred, misery and death wherever they go. They want to see the genocide of the Jewish people. They want to see Sharia law implemented in other countries. They want to see people who are critical of Islam disposed of. Because at the end of the day, if they all are supporters of Islam, then it stands to reason they will be supportive of killing off every other group of people. Because in their own Quran, it even says any other scripture other than the Quran is unacceptable. Now, Keir the traitor Starmer can bury his head in the sand all he wants. But in the end, he is going to have to come out of that sand to breathe some of that fresh air. Hell, he might even have to go ahead and touch that green stuff out there. It's called grass. I know, it's a novel concept. Hell, even I do it when I step out my house and go to the fucking bus stop. It's lovely. It's fresh, it's crisp, it's green, and it barely stands at like 2 fucking inches tall in some cases. But hey, it's wonderful stuff. I recommend it, Keir the traitor Starmer, because I don't think you've seen grass. Quite frankly, you haven't touched it, you haven't felt it, you haven't got the British people on your side. And it shows. What's it going to take for you to realise that you are a literal tool for Islam to impose a caliphate, to impose Sharia law on Britain? Well, last time I checked, the only law I stand by is common law and the Magna Carta. So these Islamists can take their Sharia law and shove it where the sun doesn't shine. Because we don't want it here, we don't want their intolerant beliefs here, we don't want them to kill off homosexual people for just having the same plumbing but different wiring. We are accepting of people who respect our cultures, our societies, our way of life, our beliefs. We will never respect anybody who does not reciprocate those feelings. That is why we want Islam gone. That is why we want these hate marches off the street. It's down to the police now. Do they have the brass balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case, both, to be able to do that? Or will they cower away once again, too afraid to arrest these hateful fanatics for fear of being called racist? At the end of the day, Islam is a 5th century death cult, and its I don't want to say integration because they're not really integrating. Their attempted subjugation, as well as that flood of migrants that's coming into our country illegally via those dinghies across the shore, it is turning our once great country into a third world shithole. Just like the third world shitholes a lot of these cunts come from. So it's down to you, Keir the traitor Starmer. Or it'll be down to someone who'll replace you, hopefully, because you don't look like you're going to last the end of the month, let alone the fucking year. But I hope whoever replaces you has a pair of balls and actually decides to take out the trash. Because the British Prime Minister should be putting British people first. Novel concept, I know, but last time I checked, a Prime Minister's civic duty, or duties rather, are twofold. Protect the realm and all of its inhabitants, not just one section of them. Stop being a sectarianist bastard, Keir the traitor Starmer, and start doing your job. Or maybe the British people will come in and they'll do it for you. It's up to you. But you will not like the way we do it. Because it will be unpleasant. It will be brutal. But it will get the country back on track. Because I don't want this country to fall under Sharia law.